You just yesterday gave a course here on health and wellness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell our audience a little bit about what you presented in that so they can get a feel for what they'll learn if they were to come to it next time?
Well, it's there's some very basic parameters that we need to understand, and the whole thing is that if we maintain balance, or it's also known as homeostasis, okay, then we're going to have optimal performance. And so, I give two parameters that are so consistently and that we can relate to. One is body temperature, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or 36.6 Celsius. If your body deviates in the body temperature either way, to the cold side or to the hot side, you're not comfortable. You're either shivering because you're cold, or you're overheating and now you're having a fever and you can't function. So there's another thing about, like, for example, balanced body pHs, and every tissue has its own pH issue. So it's not about making your whole body alkaline, but sometimes it's what people understand from what's being said.
It's about balance.
Well balanced. And when we are in balance, we're going to get optimum performance. So how do we do that? Proper hydration, covered that it's so important. You are what you not just eat, but what you drink. And we're consuming an awful lot of beverages that are really damaging to our bodies. Okay, so so what you eat, so processed foods versus living foods. Okay, life gives life. If we just adhere to that, those kind of properties out there. If you eat fresh from your garden, it's living foods. And way back, even the Russians have developed what is called Kirlian photography. You can look it up, and they can take a photo of your body.
The astral body, does it not?
Well, kind of like it measures the energy around you.
Yeah.
Okay, because when you have energy, it's like electricity flowing. And if you have electric wires, you can measure even the electricity, you can measure the magnetic field. Likewise, our body, actually, through Kirlian photography, you see this color around the body. This is what they call the aura around our bodies. And they can do the same thing with foods, okay? The more living things are, the more energy that it is. So the principles of that life gives life, okay, we're reinforcing, and that's what we need to do. So we are eating dead things. It's actually sucking energy out of the body. And so, aging is not about chronological age, but it's biochemical age, what kind of goes on in the cells, right? So if you want a little bit more quality life, again, just apply some very basic basic principles, right?
Yeah.
So first thing you need in life is maximize the oxygen. And because if you cut off the oxygen level like that, within minutes you die.
You die.
And people go in the pool, they fall in the pool, they drown, they die brain dead, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't do you any good if you don't have any brain cells. Okay, so, but there's a relationship between oxygen, hydration, pH balance, and then of course what we need in the nutrition is minerals.
Right.
Problem being that everything is so commercially grown, and in 1933 the U.S. Congress issued a report stating that our commercial foods or plants that we eat are devoid of proper minerals content. 1996, the Earth Summit, again, did the same thing. So we have never changed anything.
So where does one get proper nutrients?
Well, my recommendation is if you have the space, the time, grow your own garden, compost the soil, go back to the old style farming, right?
Wow.
And even the farmers knew they had they would do that. But they would also utilize things like alfalfa. Most of your root structure, most crops, 5 to 15 feet. And when we keep on putting stuff in and they keep on extracting things out, there's more than 80 minerals and trace minerals required. Again, our bodies needs them all because minerals are cofactors that make everything happen. Okay, so when we get devoid of, a lot of things are just not going to happen, okay, because we're deficient. A bag of fertilizer, a lot of people think fertilizer is fertilizer. No, because in a bag of fertilizer you got three things: NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. And there's, again, over 80. So what happened to all the 70 some odd? You're deficient on those things. Right. So always kind of keep in remember. So going back, if you can garden yourself, fortify, your garden with it, or what the farmers used to do. Really interestingly, because of the root structures, they would grow alfalfa. Alfalfa is a phenomenal food source. When you grow alfalfa, the potential of the roots to go down 100 to 400 feet. So now it's tapping into the minerals, bringing it up. And then the farmers used to plow that into, and then they fallow the land. They would leave it there and would not grow anything on it. and so therefore we would end up with the soils being enriched naturally. Okay, well, most farmers just don't do that anymore. So it's basically throw the fertilizer in it. When the plants get sick, what do? We ended up needing, because the bugs start to affect it, and now we put in things like pesticides and herbicides and fungicides
right,
on it.
Those are in
and
our
we're
foods
taking
too.
those things, okay?
Right.
And if you look at any material safety data sheet, anything that ends with the word ID, okay, means it's cancer-causing effects. So what do we see in our society? We're mineral deficient. We're putting more chemicals into our body that our bodies can't process, and it's an accumulative factor as
Right.
well.
Wow. That's quite the mouthful you gave me there.
Well, lots to think about,
Lots to
but
think
it's
about. Yeah.
the principles are just so very basic, you know. I tell people like this: let nature be your teacher, right? And whenever we reflect to what happens in nature, and when people used to live more in the simpler life forms, they always were dealing with nature much more natural. But you know, I guess since the last maybe 50 years particularly, you know, our minds have basically been hijacked and mutilated by the system.
Right.
We no longer can relate to those things. So we want to be masters over nature, and look what we're doing. We're just destroying more and more of it, right?
Yeah, that's
so, you know, it's really an unfortunate situation. So hopefully that through, it sometimes takes a crisis to make things change, make people realize, yeah. Right? Yeah. And hopefully we don't have to head into a part that we totally destroy ourselves
yeah.
in the process.
Yeah. So knowledge is
key. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the first thing is always awareness. Knowledge is out there.
Yeah.
And I know that in the past was going through a lot of books that took a long time. So, but that's where I laid my foundation. Nowadays, when I want to look, I mean, we've got the beauty of the internet.
Well, you look great, so you must be doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a 40-year process, so I'm 59 plus, so, you know, yeah, I can, but I want to be the billboard, okay, because too many people in this kind of a business and industry, I live it, I'm passionate about it, I'm not perfect, okay, don't pretend to be perfect, but I want to be able to show people as well that you consider making an investment. A lot of people have a lot of investments out there, and you can have all the money in the world, but when you don't have life, physical life is, you know, mental or whatever, you know, you're just not living it. The millions that you could have in the bank is worthless. So, you know, invest into your body and first. Get the knowledge, first, and then, you know, have that quality of life so that you can enjoy it or be productive. And if you feel that there's any purpose to your life here, now you can live your life on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. To serve others, whatever, you
Absolutely.
know?
So I have a personal question
Sure.
for you. Yesterday when I saw you, your eye was bloodshot.
Right.
And today it looks a million times better. And the healing that's occurred between yesterday and today is somewhat fast, yeah. And
well, what happened?
You've got to tell me what you did.
It's just the way my body took care of it. Yesterday, I live on acreage, so I've got grass in the back. The acreage is like 4 or 5 feet tall. And I was cutting grass for probably 7 hours yesterday, so the dust is flying and everything is flying. And unfortunately, something then hit my face and my eye, so that affected and got it to be bloodshot. And
but I've had bloodshot eyes before, and they don't heal that fast.
So here, you know, today, well, less than 24 hours, my ability for my body to start healing, right?
Antibodies are working a lot faster than.
Very true,
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Richard.
Well, thank you very much.
I really appreciated this time with you. Is there anything you want to share with the audience that I haven't asked you about? Any product maybe, or any service that you?
Well, there are a lot of products, and I sort of honed into a few simple thing. I also like to recommend people eat within the climate area that you live into, right? And so some of the very healthy foods that I recommend, things like hemp, grown in Canada. Read up about, you know, the history on hemp, and hemp is a food. It's just phenomenal. It's easy.
We're going to get you to come and talk about hemp.
Absolutely. It's we're into living, you know, eating fast foods. It's something that you can do. Like chia seeds from, you know, Mexico down, Latin American countries, they grow it. It's also, and was an Aztec fruit, and when you go into the history of that. So these are superfoods. I've been lately living pretty well 70% of what I eat on spirulina. Another just superfood. It's the highest known bioavailable form of protein, and it is so complete. Like, particularly for those who want to be vegetarians, and a lot of people that are vegetarians are deficient in B12. And they say, well, you got to eat meat, because you're not eating meat, you're going to be deficient in B12. Well, guess what? Spirulina is the best source of B12. So we have in nature, like that, some really high energy,
my vegan friends would
nutritious
appreciate
foods.
this.
Yeah, and it's so easy to eat too, right? So if your lifestyle is that of fast, you want something, you can bring some of these things into your life, and you can survive simply, okay? So eating simple foods and highly nutritious, you can turn things around. So as Hippocrates even said, let food be your medicine, and medicine be your food, right?
Thanks, Richard.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.